and holding pan, and it includes the foil test. This is a huge infection control. Now again, I have to have my full PPE on. The minute I start to handle this chemical and the instruments, I have to have these on. One of the most important things you need to know, because offices usually don't wear them, but on your exam, anytime you handle contaminated instruments that are dirty that you've used on a patient, or you handle a chemical, you have to wear them. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine on because it's easier. It's less movement. So, well, let's move over here and act like I just, here, come here, sit down, Bryn. Or here, Allison, you're here. Okay.
Oh, my son.
I just finished working on Allison. I just finished working on her, so I pushed everything out of the way. I gave her her post-op. I told her to call if she has pain or problems. I cover up. I take off my PPE. I remove my gloves, wash my hands, write in the patient chart, or I could do over gloves. Okay, so let's act like I've already dismissed you. Now, I'm in a hurry because you work your rear off because we had another patient in about 5 minutes. So I move on over here. Now, the first thing in the morning, I already probably got my holding pan ready. Tap water, 1 squirt of dish soap. Don't waste this because I have to buy it. The holding pan. The holding pan, you have to know when you use it. You use it if this is already running or it's full. So the holding pan is what we say for overflow. So what do I put in it?
Some water. And
tap water. And this is dish soap. Technically, it is an enzyme. Dish soap is an enzyme. They used it for the great oil spill with all the ducks. So it's an enzyme. The thing you have to know about it is it has to have 2 labels. A biohazard label and a chemical label. I don't know what happened to my Dawn, but this is supposed to be, oh, Dawn Ultra. But we're going to use this cheap stuff up. Okay. Anything in a dental office or any medical office, if, let's say the cleaning person comes in and their child sees it and someone forgot to empty it and they can think, oh, water. I want to get out my new little boat that Gram bought me. We have to know that it's labeled if they get it in their eye. These are the numbers for safety. Now we see a zeros and a bunch of ones, so this isn't very harmful like this is, which is carcinogenic. But you have to have the label on so that they know what's going to happen. You also have to have a biohazard. Now who can tell me why would we have to have the biohazard on here? What could we be putting in there?
All the bloody, nasty, disgusting tools.
What does blood carry? Disease. So the biohazard shows that this can be hazardous. 2 labels, tap water. Okay, so now I've got that ready. Now I'm gonna make sure when you guys drain this has to be over here like this, and it has to be plugged in. There's not a lot of room. See, look. So I have to kind of, it's not ideal. Now we got to close it. You guys are going to look over to the side. I can't tell if it's closed or not here from this angle.
Yeah, it was already closed. Now you just opened it.
I did? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we make sure that it's closed. Now you need to be careful with the lid. You don't want to be the one that breaks this. Again, what do we have in here? Biohazard label. Okay. I've turned it on. So now I'm going to fill it up with water to the fill line. you guys want to come over here and look, there's minimum and maximum. So you have to have it in between. If you don't have enough in it, you're going to burn up, you can burn up your unit. Okay, so you have to have it to the fill line. It does matter.
They're in the video.
Okay, I'm going to put 1 squirt of soap. This is an enzyme. Just use a little bit. Don't use as much as I did because we got to make this go for I don't know how long.
I ain't seeing crab.
Well,
Okay, that
see,
kind of
this
feels
is why
good.
I needed to put these back on. No one caught me because I'm getting ready to handle instruments and okay. So, have enough in it. Do you see how this has to be over here? If somebody drains it and this is not down here, it'll go all over the counter. So again, we need it on close. Otherwise, this would all be falling out all over the place. Okay. So now I've brought my instruments over. I have a couple options. You can contain them. And these are kind of hard to close, so don't close them both down. Has to be submerged. Oh, let me do my foil test first. A lot of times people do the foil test whenever they have time, but the foil test is called a quality assurance test. It's just to ensure that you're doing everything. Hello, Dr. Jason. Hi. Well, hello. This is just to ensure that it's a quality assurance test. It's just to ensure that you're doing everything that you can to make sure that you're taking good care of your patients. So we want to make sure that our ultrasonic is working. Now, Bryn, you were talking about how it cleans, but everything is still contaminated. It's through a process called cavitation. It means that they kind of implode. You know, like a building can explode, but they also implode from the inside. So 5 to 6 inches, 1 inch from the bottom, and I'm gonna turn it on. And I haven't turned this on for a year, so let me think. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna count. You're supposed to do it for 30 seconds, and what you're looking for is kind of a pattern. So if we see an inch or more, I think they say a half inch or more without a pattern, can you see the little pebbling? See the little pebbling? What you don't want is to see no pebbling. So this is our foil test. Now, I don't know, they usually discourage holes, but I did get this online, and so, you know, I didn't pay as much money for it, and, you know, but still, this is a foil test. So, now we're going to put you're also supposed to degas, and I never degassed in all my life an ultrasonic, but I did read about why you're supposed to, and it has something to do with kind of making your ultrasonic work more efficiently. And so you can see over here that there is a degas, and I don't remember where the degas button is. Let's go to function. Oh, there it is, right here. Your little function is normal. You can have a heater, but we want to degas. So really, when you pull it up in the morning, you're going to do a holding pan. So let's say we're done degassing.
You were hood rat.
Kind of a funny word. Okay, so let's say we've already got our holding pan ready. We've done our foil test, and we're coming in, and we got our instruments going. I'm going to set it. I believe this book says 3. Do I have 3 to 10? Because all my books change. Yeah, 3 to 10. This is a different book, so I got to go by the book because I don't want you to miss anything on your test. So I'm going to set it. Let me get it on normal. And let's just say I'm going to set it for 4 minutes. Yes. That's kind of the noise that's making it work. So now let's say this is completely full. You can't overload this. Let's say you come up, you just finished with your patient, and your doctor, you know, you're done, but this is full. And maybe you did a couple hour oral surgery and you have a lot of dried blood on your forceps and stuff. You are going to put them in the holding pan. The holding pan is for overflow. This is full. And you want to help soften that debris because we don't want to have to hand scrub. You can hand scrub instruments if you have to, but it is least desirable because they don't want you handling sharp, or they don't want you handling instruments. And that when you do, you have to wear these. So the holding pan is for if this is full, or let's say you only have 2 minutes left. You don't want to put yours in when we need to maybe run him for 10 minutes because it's been a very bloody surgery. Does that make sense? Okay? So, okay, we're going to act like it's done. We're careful with the lid. Okay, we don't want to reach down and grab. What gloves do I have on? Utility. And by the way, you can wash, disinfect, and sterilize these.
Is that water hot?
It can, this one has a heater, but this water's, I think it would take a long time. So now you're going to use copious amounts of water and you're going to rinse. Let's get crowded over here. And you can see there's hardly any room. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to rinse. This is the step that a lot of students forget. You have to rinse well. Now this is not autoclavable. This just kind of helps contain instruments. A lot of offices have cassettes. If we have a cassette, we actually could have put it down like this with the contaminated instruments, rinsed it, kind of made sure it was a little dry, and then sterilized. Now again, I don't have an autoclave. If you remember, there were 3 different types of sterilizers. An autoclave, which is steam, and then also we have a chemical clave, and basically you just going to be using a chemical, and then we have a dry heat. Mine would be a dry heat. We would place them in here. Let's just pretend. If these were in here, we would pat them dry. Again, we're not going to go like this. Just do, because what happens if we have water and heat? We can rust. So we can pat them dry, put them in here, and that's another comp. But for this comp, you are going to select which pouch you want. So I really should have brought over a basic. Who can tell me what is in a basic?
Explorer, mirror, tweezers.
Okay, so a basic is cotton pliers or forceps, a mirror, and explorer. So I wish I would have brought that over. So we would put them in here. Let's act like we have all 3 in here. Now, let me show you. We don't touch this end. This is when you open them. Do you see the little, right here? And this is, you're gonna peel it. Now, what happened to my pencils? Here we are. Now this is the contaminated area. And every book that I've ever taught from, they want your initials, the date. I don't know what today is. Okay, I got it right. And I'm writing basic. Now, a lot of times, and I haven't gotten into it, a lot of times they use big blue wrapping paper. And you don't know what's in there. And so that's why you're going to have to write. We obviously can see. But we're going by the book. We're going by the comp. And so you're going to have to write 3 things. We're going to put them in there, and then later I'm going to show you how you sterilize. I wish I had an autoclave, but I don't. Okay, let me see what I left out. One thing I forgot to say is we don't assume that everything is clean. So you do visually kind of inspect your instruments to make sure before you sterilize them sometimes you might have to scrub or run them again. Oh, okay, so at the end of the day, we drain it. So I'm not gonna, well, you guys can, when you use this, just use a little bit, okay? Make sure you can drain it.
You're horrible. I'll show people how to turn it off.
And let's not use the Dawn. Let's use up the cheap stuff. And then we're gonna rinse it.
This one expired?
Miss Bailey, this is expired.
I know, but it's still fine.
This is fine. This when you buy chips that are expired. How much is this like? What, $30?
Yeah, I'm limited this year. Okay. So one more thing, and this is why. Well, technically, I'd have to take these off. They took my trash can. I used to have 3. Okay, anytime, and I haven't introduced this. I'm introducing this Monday. But anytime you use a chemical, and this is a chemical, and it was donated to me from a Patterson rep, and I need to get a label on here. But this is a disinfecting chemical. Anytime you use a chemical, you have to use these utility gloves. Okay, then we're just going to do a little rinse. And I'm not waiting on that. And then we're going to disinfect periodically. This is still a contaminated area, but periodically you're going to just disinfect it. That's on the comp, so I want to include it. Okay? And then you can always kind of disinfect these. When you sterilize them too much, they just really kind of tear them down. Okay, that's enough.